Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Veronica Wolf here, and today I'm going to talk about complaining and why you should really stop complaining in your life, because complaining is a waste of time. I used to be like the biggest complainer on earth when I was younger. I was constantly complaining about people, the way people were treating me. I was complaining about, you know, I didn't get this award, or like I didn't get this, or I wanted this, or I wanted to be like this, or something like this. I would just literally anything that I could find to complain about. I was constantly complaining, and it was until one day my brother literally like screamed at me and was like, "Stop complaining so much. Like, if you're gonna keep on complaining, don't complain to me because you're literally wasting my time. Do something, or shut up." And I remember I was like so taken aback at that moment, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so rude. That's so mean." But then actually, when I started thinking about it, I was like, actually, he's right. Like, I've been complaining about this for years at this point. And guess what? I'm still in the situation. This situation is upsetting me. It's not bringing me any happiness. It's literally like sucking the soul, the life away from me. And I know all of this, but instead of actually taking action, I'm just sitting and just talking about it. And talking about, oh, what was me? Oh, this person did this person did this person did this. And it stemmed from a lack of self accountability, because I would rather complain about it and feel like I'm unloading that way than actually to do something about the situation. And once I realized that, and I actually started changing my life from being a passive person in my own life to actually being an active driver in my own life, actually like becoming the main character in my own life, actually really like enforcing standards for people in my own life, actually removing myself from people who didn't appreciate me or people who didn't treat me the way that I deserved to be treated. And you know that all comes from radically accepting responsibility for your life, and yeah, holding yourself accountable. And once I started to do that, I started to see the complaining mindset that is in so many people, even I would argue like the vast majority of people. And people just are constantly complaining about things that they're unhappy with in their life, but they don't actually do stuff to change it, or they don't actually work on it consistently enough to change it. And this appears in so many areas, right? Before we get into that, one thing that also really helped me was Stoicism. I'm quite into philosophy, and basically, there's two, principles of thoughts in Stoicism, and they're the fact that in life there's two different types of things that we come across. There's two different types of problems. One are the problems that we can change and we can have effect on, and the other ones are things that we can't control, right? And on top of that, right now I'm reading Viktor E. Frankl's book, A Man's Search for Meaning. And he talks about how literally when everything is stripped away from a man, the only thing that's left is, his mindset or her mindset. And, those two things really apply, because when you are constantly complaining, you are really like in a victim mentality, and you are actually like you're disempowering yourself. Like, I see so many, especially growing up, I had so many girlfriends, right? Like girls that were my friends, and they would be in these relationships with these guys that were like horrible, these guys that treated them horribly, who like literally were abusive to them. And I don't want to victim blame and say like, oh, you, like, obviously you don't deserve abusive behavior for someone, but at the end of the day, this person is this person, and this person is treating you like this because you are allowing this person to treat you like this. Like, this guy's he is doing this to you because you are allowing him to do this to you, and you are still staying in the relationship with him. And a lot of the time they would come to me and they would you know say, oh, like, I hate him, and he's so this and he's so horrible and stuff like that. But then at the end of break time, you go and you're right back with him, and then you're together with this person for God knows how long, and you're just reliving the same cycle. You're just literally being traumatized over and over and over again. And you just keep on complaining about it. Instead of actually doing something and taking action in the situation, you just keep on complaining. And that's just one example. For example, like romantic relationships. And obviously, this is not just women that do this. I know like a lot of guys who've also had like similar situations. And I think it's just honestly common in like toxic relationships, but it applies to so many other things in life. Like recently, I was speaking with someone who, let's just say they live in Madagascar. Okay, let's just say they live in Madagascar. And, they're living in Madagascar and we're having a call and they're talking about how they're so depressed, how, they've just been so miserable. Everything in their life is miserable. How they've been, the cause of their misery recently was because of Donald Trump. And I was just like, like at a certain point, like people find things to make themselves miserable about. Like, you're not American. Donald Trump, he's not really reaching you like that. Like, I mean, I'm literally American. I'm literally living in the States. I'm not letting Donald Trump affect me in my daily life like that. And I am actually like more of a direct, recipient. I'm more directly impacted by his behavior. And just so many things. Like the more and more that like I speak to people, the more that I just realize like how so many people, they build their own mental prisons. They build their own mental cages. A lot of people, they make themselves miserable with their mindsets. And I think the more that I've started like doing self-work and digging into myself and challenging a lot of my own self-beliefs, the more that I've been able to identify my own mental prisons and get out of them, but also recognizing them in other people. And so to sum up the video, essentially, instead of constantly complaining about something that's making you unhappy, take that energy and actually do something about it. Complaining is literally a waste of time, because there's one thing about actually genuinely expressing your feelings. If you have a friend and you, for example, if you are my friend and you come to me, I love, having heart to hearts with my friend. I love being able to be there for my friends, and vice versa. If you come to me and, you genuinely have an issue, you want to talk about something, I'm absolutely open arms. But, okay, the first time, the second time, the third time, great. But if you keep on calling me about the same situation and you're not doing anything about it, at that point, you're not only wasting my time, you're wasting your time. And yeah, you're making yourself a victim. And, it is what it is. But the more that you grow older, the bigger the impact is going to have. Like, compound interest is a real thing, and it doesn't only apply to the stock market. And yeah, your mindset is one of them. Like, I look at a lot of the people that I knew when I was younger who had very like limited mindsets and who had very much so victim mentalities. And even though I had more of a victim mentality back then, I was still trying to do stuff to find my power in my life, and still trying to do stuff little by little, poku and poku, and trying to still like break out of that mentality and trying to empower myself where I could. And I've seen so many people who I used to know or used to be friends with, who have stayed in that mindset, have stayed in just constantly complaining, not even taking action for so many of the things in their life. And they're still stuck in the same place. They're still stuck in the same relationships. They're still stuck in the same jobs, still stuck in the same exact places, because instead of actually using that energy that they've been using to complain, they just use it to complain. Instead of using the energy for something else, for something productive, for something positive, for something that's actually going to make a change, they did it. And you can't change people. All you can do is focus on yourself and change yourself. You can't also help people if you have to help yourself first before you can also help other people. So yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is. I just kind of felt compelled to talk about this today because I've just been seeing like so much complaining, and my tolerance for it is just so low now, because my tolerance for complaining within myself is incredibly low, and never mind in other people. So yeah, I don't know. I hope this video like kind of empowered you, and kind of, if you are someone that complains a lot, like start thinking about, why do I complain so much? Instead of complaining, what can I actually do about the situation that's going to stop me from needing to complain, and complaining doesn't get you anywhere. But if you actually look at the problem and say, okay, first of all, is this something that I can actually like do something about? If no, then what is the point of giving energy to it? And if there's something that you can do about it, do it. Literally just do it.